On today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the top 12 comic book buys of 2022. Stick around after this. What's going on, everybody? This is Kevin Denia over at Superpower Review. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I know it's been a little while. As we all know, life happens and things get in the way. As you guys know, that I recently moved, and when I wasn't even remotely close to getting used to the new place, a huge change happened in my life. I ended up getting a new job position. So I'm officially the new executive director of the TV studio here where we record Superpower Review. So life's been a little bit hectic, and we're getting kind of, used to a new normal. So I figured that we had some time, so why not do a quick video? So I'm really excited about today's video because this is one of my favorite videos to record for the channel, and that's just breaking down the top comic book buys of the year. We got a lot of fantastic books. I was going to do my top 10, but there were just so many great books that I could not pass up throwing in a couple more, so we ended up doing 12. We're gonna show off 12 comic books today. Also, while I was picking out the books for today's video, I noticed that this is probably the least amount of money I've spent on comic books for the year, which is pretty nice. No big, huge grails for the year, but a lot of great books, a lot of slabs, which is kind of cool, but more importantly, a lot of upgrades for the collection. So I've been kind of undoing my past mistakes and just buying books just to say that I have the book. Now quality is a big thing, and I'm trying to upgrade the collection. I gotta say, upgrading has been feeling a whole lot better than adding to the PC lately. So before I show you guys these books, don't forget to smash that like button. That would really help. Leave me a nice comment in the comment section down below. And lastly, subscribe to the channel if you want to see future content from me. So let's get started, shall we? All right, so starting this list off at number 12, our first book is a Godzilla #1. So this is a huge upgrade for the PC. I had a 7.5 signed by Herb Trimp, and we ended up upgrading to a 9.6. The person that I bought this from actually ended up trading with my 7.5. He liked to, we all collect differently. He actually likes the sort of roughed up books. He likes the 7.5. I mean, 7.5 is not really that roughed up, but he really liked that it was signed. He likes some comic books with the wear and tear, while I like, the more of the mintier books. So we ended up doing a trade cash deal, and it worked out perfectly. So yet again, a Godzilla #1. I went from a signed 7.5, it was signed by Herb Trimp, and we ended up getting a 9.6 with white pages. I was trying to get a 9.8, but this book is still very expensive for a 9.8, and so I just ended up settling with the 9.6, which is still a fantastic grade for this book since it's from 1977. So the importance of this comic book is the first appearance of Godzilla in comic books. So now going on to number 11, what do we got? Yeah, this is a good one. All right, so for number 11, we have the Uncanny X-Men #133. This is a comic book that's been on my wish list for quite a while. I've seen it a couple of times out in the wild. This is the first solo story of Wolverine in an X-Men title. He takes on the Hellfire Club, and this is also my favorite team when it comes to X-Men. This is classic John Byrne artwork, and we also have Chris Claremont on writing. Haven't read this book yet. I did flip through the pages a couple of times. It's everything that I'm looking for in a comic book. It's super violent, it's got lots of action, and it's pretty cool to see Wolverine in his first sort of solo story taking on the Hellfire Club. So he's doing what he does best in this issue, and what he does is not very nice. So that is number 11. We have the Uncanny X-Men #133, the first solo Wolverine story in an X-Men title. All right, and going down to number 10. Oh, this is a good one. I like this one a lot. Going to number 10, we have Punisher War Journal #6. The significance of this book is that this is the first time Wolverine and the Punisher meet. This one is signed by Jim Lee, who is the artist on this comic book. This was a fantastic buy. Love this cover. I think it's super awesome. Any cover with Wolverine all mean and aggressive is a good time. So All right, so moving on to number 9, we got a raw book here. This one was already featured in a video. This one I picked up at Terrificon for a really good deal, and we have a Daredevil number 16. The significance of this book is this is the first Daredevil crossover in his title, and this is also the first time John Romita Sr. draws Spider-Man, which happens to be a lot of fans' favorite comic book artist for Spider-Man. Haven't read this one yet, but this was a great buy, very significant to me on that day of going to Terrificon, and it was a really, really good deal. The person gave me an awesome deal on this comic book. So, all right, so for number 8, we have another raw book here. This is another Terrificon comic book buy, and we have an Amazing Spider-Man number 410, the first appearance of Spider-Carnage. This is yet another upgrade to the PC. I had a very beat up raw copy. The gentleman at a booth was very nice to allow me to trade in my rough copy for this copy, and so Mark Bagley was also at Terrificon, and I ended up getting to meet him yet again, and he was able to sign this book. I had other books signed by Mark Bagley as well. Dude was hilarious, drinking beers at the con, sneaking beers underneath the table, and cracking jokes at his fans as well. So really cool buy. I love this book. Definitely a 9.8 candidate right here. So for number 8, we have the Amazing Spider-Man number 410, the first appearance of Spider-Carnage. Coming in for number 7, yet another upgrade, a huge upgrade. This is a Spawn number 1. We had a 9.6 signed by Todd McFarlane, and I was like, you know, this book is from 1992. It's a pretty modern book. We should probably get this book in the 9.8. And plus, I did not like the signature on my old one. He signed it in blue on his little necroplasm over here. His necroplasm burst. And so I wasn't feeling the blue. The blue wasn't looking nice on that green ball there. So you guys know I love my metallic colors. Got this one in silver. Pretty pumped to get that upgrade. It was kind of an expensive upgrade, but we made it happen. All right, so coming in at number 6, we have yet another huge upgrade to the PC. We're going with Batman The Dark Knight Returns number 2. This one I previously had in a 9.0 only signed by Frank Miller, but here we have a 9.4 with white pages. It's not only signed by Frank Miller, but it's also signed by Klaus Janson as well. Really love this book. It was definitely needed to upgrade this copy here, since this is one of my favorite Batman stories and also my favorite cover from the storyline as well. So really happy to add this one. All right, up next is a recent purchase and also a massive upgrade to the PC. I just got this book in the other week. We have a Batman number 404, Batman Year 1 Part 1, signed by Frank Miller, in a 9.8. I previously had this book signed by Frank Miller in a 9.2. And in case if you guys, are new here, or if you, don't remember, but I'm trying to do my best to upgrade comic books in the collection, where if anything is lower than a 9.0 or a 9.2, I'm trying to get them to bump up at least to a 9.4 or higher. This is my all-time favorite Batman story right here, is Batman Year 1. I truly hold this story near and dear to my heart. So really like this one. If you haven't read Batman Year 1, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're actually better off going from Batman Year 1, and right when you're done reading that, just going right to the Batman Dark Knight Returns. Probably the best stories, best Batman stories written by Frank Miller, honestly. And we're not done with Frank Miller. We're on a Frank Miller roll here. Up next, we have a Daredevil number 181 in a 9.6, signed by Frank Miller as well. This was a birthday present to myself this year. This is one of my newer favorite comic books in the collection, but this is the death of Elektra. Pretty big key. Love this comic book. The way that the panels are laid out on this comic book are amazing. The writing is awesome. It's really cinematic, and it's pretty gruesome. And as you guys know, I really love some brutality in my comic books. Love the action. So Elektra ends up getting into a battle with Bullseye, who's one of my favorite Daredevil villains. Bullseye ends up finding out who Daredevil is, and in order to get back at him, he decides to kill the love of his life, and that is Elektra. But as we all know, death in comic books are not real. These next two are massive upgrades, yet again, to the comic book collection. I've been hustling. I'm hustling to upgrade. So up next, we have an Incredible Hulk number 340, one of my favorite comic books of all time. As I just previously mentioned, I love fight scenes and action in my comic books. I love violence and brutality. So the Wolverine and Hulk decide to duke it out. They haven't had a rematch since Hulk 181, so Hulk is a bit salty. And Wolverine is like, you know, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm trying to be a leader for the X-Men. I'm trying to, you know, not be that guy anymore, but it doesn't take long until the Incredible Hulk pushes Wolverine to pop his claws, and then we have an epic fight. So really happy to upgrade this one and add this one to the PC. All right, so for number 2, it was kind of hard to choose which comic book was going to take number 1, which one took number 2. So the number 2 spot is an Amazing Spider-Man number 316. This is by far one of my favorite comic books, okay? And then when I show you number 1, I'll explain a little bit more. So yet again, I feel like a broken record here. Another massive upgrade to the collection. I had a 9.4 newsstand signed by Todd, and ended up using the funds to buy this 9.6 here. And I just recently reread this comic book. It is so brutal, and I just miss Venom being absolutely brutal with some of his victims. That was really hard to decide. I really thought that one was going to take number 1 since it's one of my favorite comic books of all time. But when I was really getting down to it and looking at this one, I was like, you know, I was really excited to find this one out in the wild. I got a good deal on it, and I was so excited when I brought it home that I just had to read it right away. So this is a book that's been on my wish list for a very long time, and we have Daredevil number 168, the first appearance of Elektra. This is a great read. And again, just like, you know, with the Daredevil number 181, you know, it is by Frank Miller. It's very cinematic. I love the story. Frank Miller just did so much for the Daredevil title. I mean, he rescued Daredevil. Daredevil was on the chopping block, getting ready to get removed by Marvel, and Frank Miller just came in and revamped the whole thing, made him so much more interesting. He made the storyline darker. He added new characters, a new origin to Daredevil. This one's got to come in at number 1, just based off of how excited I was, and, you know, spending lots of money on it, and then bringing it home and reading it, and it was definitely worth every penny. So guys, that is my top 12 comic book buys of 2022. I was really excited to show you guys these books. Let me know if you agree with the list. What were your top 12 comic book buys of the year? Let me know in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Again, don't forget to smash that like button if you'd like me to make a Superpower review return. And if you want to show your support to the channel, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. I'm Kevin Videnia for Superpower Review, and I'll see you guys next time. Not too close. Not too close. No, that's way too... Yep.
Is that good?
It's perfect.